Prince Rain had run himself ragged, dashing around the royal capital, but rest and sleep were the last things on his mind. "There's no time to spare," he muttered to himself. "We must locate the pieces they've placed in waiting for us." The dozens of hidden threats lurking within the city had manifested themselves. The investigations unit had revealed the first with Uncover, but now powerful monsters reared their heads all throughout the city, catalyzing such mayhem that the calm of that morning felt like a distant memory. Fortunately, soldiers had already been dispatched to the locations of almost every hidden threat, and the 6 Army Corps of the royal capital, commanded by the 6 sovereigns of the Kingdom of Clays, were spread across the city in force. With a cohort of hired adventurers marshaled by the Adventurers Guild also providing their assistance, the newly appeared monsters were being dealt with appropriately. The skirmishes happening across the city were hard fought, but a much worse outcome had been avoided thanks to Lynne and Noor's report of a goblin emperor hidden under a concealment. Cleanup parties had been formed based on their intelligence, and the overall conflict was going well as a result. Mercifully, though the number of injured was high, the deployment of clerics had proceeded successfully enough to have prevented any fatalities from occurring thus far. The capital's forces had evacuated as many citizens as possible to the safety of the western districts. Even if buildings were destroyed and the walls encircling the city were reduced to pitiful rubble, the royal capital would recover as long as its people survived. Thus, while things had devolved into mayhem, no significant damage had been done. Not yet, at least. "This isn't over," the prince whispered. "There has to be more to come." Their enemy, the magic empire of Derridus, was blatantly attempting to destroy the Kingdom of Clays, and it was the prince's estimation that the attacks identified thus far were no more than opening moves. This was already an act of aggression on an unusual scale, but it was still only the groundwork. The magic empire would wait patiently for the right timing, when the kingdom's military strength was spread thin, and only then would it trigger the next big wave. That was what the prince would do in their position. In essence, the prince played the same role as his current enemies, so he understood their methods far more keenly than he would have preferred. That was what made him so certain that they had more waiting in store. However, that understanding did nothing to help with the problem he now faced. He knew that something was coming, but he didn't have the faintest idea what. "Where," the prince muttered, "where will the next attack come from?"